Chairman, I appreciate that. And yeah, I view this as actually probably one of the biggest threats to the homeland. If they are capable of delivering an ICBM with a nuclear warhead to either Guam or the mainland of the United States. I know looking back historically, A.Q. Khan and his network, this access between Pakistan, Iran, and North Korea, once Pakistan got it, we couldn't take it away. Iran, we had our negotiations, and now it looks like North Korea has it. And I think once a country has this capability, it's very difficult to take it away. So I don't envy your positions in terms of trying to negotiate our way out of this. And I think the last previous administrations have failed to get us to that point, and now we are where we are. And I think Iran is probably watching this whole thing play out in terms of what's their next step going to be as well. I'm not going to get into military options. I know it's not your expertise. I do think cyber should be looked at as something that could be done to shut them down. And I know we have tremendous capability in that regard. But my question is, I know it's been talked a lot about Russia and China. Are they going to cooperate with these sanctions, and how much leverage is China putting on North Korea? But my question really has to go to the more illicit side of the house. Kim Jong-un has this North Korean Office 39 that sells basically drugs, illegal exports of minerals, as you mentioned, counterfeit, cigarettes, a lot of other things. What are we doing to try to counteract that? And also, when it comes to proliferation and the sale of arms, can you tell me how much do you estimate North Korea is making off proliferation to countries like Iran and Syria?
Congressman, it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
So one of the things that's very important to underscore is that the Treasury Department and the authorities we wield are not, as you know from your time with the Department of Justice, they are not just sanctions. Sanctions is one of many tools we have. What we used to, in effect, collapse the Bank of Dong was not a sanction. It was a Section 311 under the Patriot Act action to root out the North Koreans in that bank. In terms of the proliferation of weaponry, because of previous UN Security Council resolutions, we have been able to dry up much of the illicit sales that they were engaged in to various African regimes and so on. There are still several transactions that they periodically float that we are actively engaging various countries to deter signing of contracts and going down that road. It would be very unwise for them to take these actions. We are in a full court press on this. Because of the success that Ambassador Haley and the State Department have had at the UN, in effect, you were asking about sort of illicit transactions. In effect, nearly every export coming out of North Korea today, as of last night, nearly every export is now illicit. Textiles are now illicit. You cannot trade in North Korean textiles. You cannot trade in basic minerals anymore. Under the previous administration, talking about Bureau 39, one of the things they would do is sell these huge overpriced bronze statues, and then the weapons were the kicker on the side, and sort of as a little sweetener for paying 6 times the going rate for a bronze statue. So that organization, the Mansudae Fine Art Studio, was sanctioned, and under our administration, we've started rooting out the rest of that particular arts and monuments revenue-generating schema. North Korean labor is another category that they're getting significant money from, and with the results last night, there's now not a freeze or cap on North Korean laborers. There's a requirement to wind it down. I'm not a big fan of wind downs because it's real hard to verify that, but that is nevertheless a big step forward, and we intend to enforce that as well. I have reiterated on multiple occasions with counterparts in the Gulf and elsewhere that we need to see the North Koreans gone. The Department of State has been very active on this front, and we are seeing a drying up of revenue associated with the slave labor that the North Koreans employ.
So actually, and then to my last question, North Korea proliferating weapons to Iran and Syria.
So we do track any kind of illicit proliferation networks from the North Koreans and go after those transactions, again, with colleagues at Treasury and other agencies in the U.S. government. When we find them, we try to block them or deter them, and we've had some success. It's a continuing effort on our part, and we devote a lot of attention to that in our Bureau of Nonproliferation.
But it is happening.
I think there are transactions that we are worried about, yes.
Okay. And I know some of that may be in another setting than this. So thank you very much.